Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Thunder REGICE in the Ultra League. REGICE has returned into raids, and now has the new legacy move of Thunder. Thunder does give it interesting coverage versus water types, and with Wall Rain now everywhere, that may come in handy. I decided to run REGICE as a closer with a Talonflame lead and a Greedent safe swap to hopefully bait out the counter user or Steel type. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, try out Thunder REGICE, and see if it's worth investing in the Ultra League. Picking up a nightmare lead in the first match, Talonflame into Jellicent. We save switch into REGICE, and the opponent is not switching out. They may think that this is a good matchup, a water type versus an ice type, but this is where the new legacy move of Thunder is incredibly useful. We tank the Shadow Ball no problem, but Thunder hits hard onto Jellicent, even as bulky of a Pokemon as it is, and with the quick energy generation of Lock On, we're able to reach a second Thunder before they reach their second Shadow Ball and force a shield. Going for the third Thunder, we're just not quite able to get there, but we can actually survive this Shadow Ball. REGICE is quite bulky, and now we're going to be able to get the second shield or switch advantage. They decide to let it go, and REGICE wins us shield advantage and switch advantage. And on top of that, with Jellicent out of the way, I'm hoping that Talonflame should have a good matchup in the end game, so we're going to bring in Greedent into the Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen does have a bit of an energy lead, but Greedent is quite bulky, so we should be able to absorb that energy no problem. So I am going to let the first one through. They actually go for the Earth Power. Pretty nice play there. I am going to overfarm, and the opponent makes a very nice catch onto their third, which ends up being Mandibuzz. So it's by no means a fantastic matchup for Talonflame, but at the very least, it's a neutral matchup. And in most neutral situations, if you give Talonflame a shield advantage, it can do quite well. We're going to go for the Flame Charge to start ramping up those Incinerates. We can let the first move through. They are running Dark Pulse, so I will probably want to shield the second one. So I am going to commit the shield here, but then I should be able to overfarm by 2 Incinerates and then go for the Flame Charge to take them out. And that should leave me fairly close to a move, so I can hopefully throw one at the Nidoqueen as well. We are going for the Flame Charge here. They decide to let it go. It takes them out. In comes Nidoqueen. We're not able to sneak an Incinerate through, but we should be able to survive a couple Poison Jabs here, which we are. We are going to reach the Flame Charge. This will grab the shield, and from here, we just have to get to 2 Body Slams on Greedent. Greedent is extremely spammy with Bullet Seed and Body Slam. I call it just a Poison Fang. Let's go. And from here, we reach the back-to-back Body Slams. First one will be getting them low. Second one will be getting that KO. So despite an absolute nightmare lead, REGICE able to put in a ton of work, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Talonflame into another Jellicent. The bad leads do not stop. We are going to again safe switch into REGICE, and like last game, the opponent is not switching out. They're going for the Shadow Ball. This honestly doesn't do a ton of damage to REGICE, but you know what will? This Thunder. REGICE charging up the Thunder. Thunder lands and puts the Jellicent below half health. The Jellicent does not want to get taken out by that second Thunder. They opt to go for the Bubble Beam. They're now dry on energy, so I'm going to overfarm quite a bit, and now they finally do switch, and they bring in Charmalola Ninetales. Since they waited so long to swap, my switch clock is almost up, so I bank a Thunder for later, and now we can bring in Talonflame, which has a commanding matchup versus Charmalola Ninetales. We can easily tank the Weather Ball. I'm going to farm all the way up to 100, and then I actually am going to go for the Flame Charge. I may have been able to farm down there. I was slightly worried about them reaching a second move. We're able to take them out with the Flame Charge, and we're 1 Incinerate off of a Brave Bird. Back in comes Jellicent, and we're going for the Brave Bird. This is boosted. This is doing more than enough to take them out. They do respect it, and they decide to go for a Bubble Beam to take me out. They probably could have farmed down there, but I'm more than happy that they used their energy, as now they have fewer chances to debuff Greedent. We get to bring in the hard counter to Jellicent. They go for the Bubble Beam, they switch, and the final Pokemon is revealed as Dragalge. We do have a nice amount of energy stored on REGICE. We go for the Body Slam. In comes REGICE, and we're going for the Blizzard. The question is, do they respect the Blizzard? They do not. Dragalge gets absolutely destroyed. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Hopping to the next match, leading into the Talonflame Mirror. This is a very uncomfortable lead because it is exceedingly bait dependent. As you see here, I go for the Flame Charge bait, they correctly no-shield it, and suddenly, things are looking quite dire. My backline really does not like Talonflame, so if at all possible, I need to try and win this lead. We are again going for the bait. This time we do get the shield, which is very nice, and I have a tough call to make. I'm going to call the Flame Charge. It is the Flame Charge, and we are back in business. We have life. We go for the Flame Charge. Unfortunately, we do lose CMP. I am going to commit the shield, because this way, I can force their final shield, and then I'm going to instant swap into Greedent, because Greedent should be able to outpace the Talonflame. We bring in the Greedent. Greedent is able to outpace. We get to the Body Slam, and this will take care of the Talonflame. Hopefully, that is the biggest threat to REGICE in the back, and the opponent brings in their second Pokemon, which is Umbreon. This is a pretty neutral lead. Obviously, we are at a bit of a health disadvantage, but Greedent will be able to spam out these body slams and apply a decent amount of pressure. Again, no shields left on either side, so we just have to take the damage. They go for the foul play. I'm over-farming quite a bit in case the opponent does try and snipe, in which case I will have leftover energy if I end up needing it. Umbreon, add a move. Again, this does not KO. We do have Talonflame as a potential sack swap. I farm up here, and I lost track of my counts. They were on their 3 cycle, and I go down with a ton of energy. A huge misplay. We bring in REGICE, and they have Shadow Wall Rain in the back. So things are suddenly looking quite tough. I am going for the Thunder. Thunder lands, does big damage. We count to 9, and we're able to catch on a Talonflame. This should be the Earthquake. They decide to undercharge the Earthquake to farm down. We're able to get a little bit of Incinerate damage off, but honestly, that doesn't help us. REGICE, unfortunately, we are not able to get to the Thunder, as they will be able to get to the Earthquake, and now I just have to overfarm as much as I can. I farm up as much as possible, go for the Thunder, and now we're going to have to try and take out the Umbreon. Back in comes the Umbreon, farming up as much as possible. One Blizzard will not KO. I know that, so I think I need to go for double Thunder. So we are going for the first Thunder, trying to time it so they can't sneak through any fast moves. Can we get to the second Thunder? The timer is coming up. Can we get there? We can get there. We just desperately need this to KO. Come on, REGICE. It doesn't KO, but the timer's up. Who wins? We win off health remaining. Oh my goodness. Hopping to the next match, picking up a pretty interesting lead, Talonflame into Galvantula. We are both doing super effective damage, but of course the Galvantula outpaces. I'm going to call the lunge. It is the lunge. That's a huge no shield. We bring in Greedent. The Galvantula farms up 2 Volt Switches, so they're 1 off of a move, and then they bring in Sylveon. But waiting that long means their Sylveon is at a pretty significant energy disadvantage, and Greedent is an absolute monster with an energy lead. As Greedent able to spam out 2 body slams, we're already at a 3rd and only 2 bullet seeds off of a 4th. Sylveon still has not reached a charge move yet, and Greedent is absolutely applying a ton of pressure in this situation. Body Slam does get the shield. I'm willing to let this go down. I can Incinerate down with Talonflame, and if I have 2 Flame Charges, the Galvantula is going to be dead. So I am going to bring in the Talonflame. The opponent makes a very nice play. They don't let me Incinerate down. They bring in Galvantula, and they reach a move. I call the bait. They baited once, and they bait twice. We have successfully called 2 lunges. We go for the Flame Charge. They shield it. I'm getting a little low, so I'm going to bring in REGICE. I'm a little worried about losing CMP, so I am actually going to not throw the charge move there. I'm going to let them get off their lunge. I'm going to shield up, and then I'm going to farm up close to 100 energy, and now we're going to go for the Thunder to KO, and we'll have an energy lead and a shield for whatever's in the back, and it's Politoed. Unfortunately, because of that lunge, we are debuffed, but this Thunder will be doing a solid chunk of damage, even when debuffed on the very bulky Politoed. I will be able to tank whatever they throw here. That's just fine. They actually go for the Surf. Better DPE, but less spammy. I go for the swap. They go for the swap as well. We're able to Incinerate down, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Talonflame into Alolan Ninetales, an incredibly good lead. The opponent save switches into Cresselia, and honestly, I'm fine with staying in here and farming up quite a bit of energy. Even if the Cresselia does have Future Sight, it doesn't KO, and my goal is to basically cap on energy, and then I'm going to bring in Greedent, as Greedent does have a very nice Cresselia matchup, and 100 energy on Talonflame should hopefully prove to be very useful in the endgame. They do go for the Future Sight, that does quite a lot of damage, and we are going to fire back with the Crunch. Crunch does get them pretty low, which is nice. Unfortunately, they're still outside of a range where a single Crunch will KO, so I am actually going to go for a Body Slam into a Crunch, so that way I am going to be able to take them out. I survive any one move here, so I'm more than happy to let this go. We already saw Future Sight doesn't do half. They actually go for the Moonblast, and I'm going to be going for the Crunch, as Crunch will be getting that KO. Crunch does take them out. They come back in with the Alolan Ninetales to farm down. They may try and catch the Flame Charge, but since I'm capped on energy, I am just going to blind throw the Flame Charge after they take me out. So they farm down. I bring in Talonflame, and they do end up catching, and they have a Giratina in the back. We go for the Flame Charge. Unfortunately, it was caught, and now we bring in Regice. Regice gonna be going for the Blizzard. At this point, they see the Ice typing. They're gonna be shielding everything, so they do shield up the Blizzard, and we do have a pretty decent matchup here. Giratina, of course, does get to these Dragon Claws very, very quickly, but they don't do a lot of damage, so I don't have to shield the first two at a minimum. So we are gonna let that go, and we're just gonna keep building up to these Blizzards and spamming them out. The one thing to watch for is the Switch Clock. My guess is they may try as their win con to catch a Blizzard onto the Alolan Ninetales, so that is one thing I will definitely have to watch for. Again, I still don't have to shield this, so I am going to let that go, and we're just going to farm up to the Blizzard. They're not swapping, so my guess is they're waiting to try and catch that Blizzard. So we are going to be shielding up here. We are pretty low, which is unfortunate. They try and catch, we hold on to the energy, and we bring in the Talonflame. Talonflame needs to shield up the Weather Ball, but we should be in a pretty decent spot here. We're going for the Flame Charge. Flame Charge is going to be doing super effective damage. Doesn't quite take them out. We're able to farm down, and now we're very close to that Brave Bird. We get to the boosted Brave Bird, and that's going to be more than enough to take out the Giratina. We didn't end up needing the Blizzard, as Talonflame is able to close strong. Hopping to the next match, leading Talonflame into Obstagoon. This is a fantastic lead. We're able to catch the fighter on the lead, so our backline won't have to see it. So we're going to stay in with Talonflame, go for the Flame Charge as soon as we get it, and really start to ramp up these Incinerates. They don't have to shield the first, but we have gotten them below half health, which is fantastic. They're short of the beam, just the Night Slash, which is fine, but then they boost, which is definitely not fine. As now they're probably going to try and shield, because they're doing 50% more damage. They try and go for the Desync CMP tie, they're not able to, and we're able to sneak and Incinerate. Suddenly, I'm thinking I may be able to shield once and farm down. So we're going to try it. We're going to shield, and then we're going to try and farm down. If we can leave with energy and boosted, which we are able to do, hopefully we should be in a good spot. They have Giratina. I'm going to bank 100 energy and save switch into the Regice, since I have two better responses in the back. They go for the Dragon Claw, and the final Pokemon is Cresselia. So we should be in a great spot here. Since the Obstagoon is dead, Greedent has a tremendous amount of play against the rest of their team. So now I'm just going to stay in, do as much damage as possible with Regice, and Greedent will be able to close out in the endgame. And if for whatever reason it's not, we have 100 energy loaded on Talonflame. So either way, we're in a really comfortable position. I'm going for the Thunder here. I was hoping that a Blizzard and two Thunders would KO. Unfortunately, it looks like I will need two Blizzards and a Thunder. So we are going to have to go for the Blizzard here. Regice, so tanky, able to survive, and we get to the Blizzard. If they decide not to shield, they will go down. In comes the Giratina, and we have Greedent. And Greedent, even down a shield, is in a commanding spot to close out this match. They can spam out all the Dragon Claws they want to, but that's just not going to be applying nearly enough damage compared to our Crunches. As Crunch lands, and Crunch does a significant amount of damage, we are going for Crunch number 2. This is going to be getting them quite low. They decide to let it go. They are holding on to that shield. And again, we don't have any shield, but it doesn't really end up mattering. Greedent is so tanky, and they're just applying no fast move pressure whatsoever. I figure there's not really a point in baiting, so I go for the Crunch. The opponent tries to call the bait, they go down, and that is a good game. Hopping to the final match, leading Talonflame into Cresselia. Very nice lead if they don't have Future Sight. They save switch into Drapion, so them switching out makes me think that they probably do not have Future Sight. My whole team has a ton of neutral play versus Cresselia, so I'm more than happy to stay in with the Talonflame versus the Drapion, because I should be able to apply a lot of pressure. They go for the crunch, they don't get the debuff, which is big. That means I should survive a second crunch on very low HP, which we do. Can we get to the Brave Bird? Yes, we can! So we're gonna get both shields, or we're going to secure the KO. They commit the second shield, we're going to bring in REGICE and try and get to that Thunder to take them out, and the opponent makes the switch, but they switch a Walrein into a loaded REGICE, and that is a nasty surprise as the Thunder lands. REGICE able to get to another Thunder, and this Walrein is not going to be able to get to an Earthquake as they get taken out. They still do have that Cresselia, of course, but we have a 2-0 shield advantage, and REGICE is going to absolutely dominate in this endgame. We go for the Blizzard, that does big damage onto the Cresselia, and we still have that very low HP Talonflame if we want to potentially try and catch. They do go for the Grass Knot, so they do obviously have Grass Knot, no Future Sight. We're going for the Blizzard, and then we're going to try and catch onto the Talonflame. One more, we switch, and we catch onto the Talonflame. And if it wasn't apparent before, this game is over. We bring in Greedent. We don't have to shield a thing here. Greedent is just far too healthy, and that is a good game. And now some final thoughts on Thunder REGICE. I think Thunder does provide some very nice coverage for REGICE, especially when it comes to hitting water types for super effective that typically REGICE would struggle against with its previous moveset. However, losing Earthquake does definitely come at a cost, and that leaves REGICE very vulnerable to steel types, your XL Galarian Stunfisk, your XL Registeel. REGICE is really going to struggle because Thunder and Blizzard respectively just don't hit as hard as Earthquake would in those particular situations. Now, as to the final verdict, it performed fairly well for me. I think it's quite bulky. I don't think it quite performed well enough for me to recommend going out and investing in one. It's a solid off-meta choice. If you end up getting a good IV1, you can definitely invest in it, but I don't think it's quite good enough for me to recommend going out, finding a good one, and building it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.